Welcome back to Ozarks Fox. It's no surprise the travel industry has taken a big hit during the pandemic as people are simply not traveling for fun, especially. Springfield receives more than 3 million visitors each year, and that's obviously a big boost for the local economy. Today, we are hearing more about how the tourism industry in Springfield has been impacted and how it's now recovering as state and local guidelines allow more businesses to open slowly but surely heading towards entertainment and travel. Joining us now, we have Tracy Kimberlin. He is the CEO and president of the Springfield's Convention and Visitors Bureau. Tracy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for the invitation.
So first, I want to check in with you and ask you how you are doing. I know a lot of things have changed work-wise and even our personal lives. How are you doing?
We're getting through. We're slowly coming back into the office. About half the staff is back in the office, and then we're planning on being back in full force the 1st of June.
Tracy, the last newsletter from the CVB said you are seeing some improvements. So I want to start there with the good news. Where are you now? Where's the organization now? What are some of those improvements you're seeing? And how are you adjusting as these restrictions are now being lifted?
Well, the improvements are very small, but nevertheless, they are improvements. We hit the bottom the first part of April when the hotel industry's citywide occupancy dropped to about 22%. We are back up now. Last week, we were back up to about 32%. So that's still a terrible occupancy. But when you're standing on the bottom, looking up, anything looks good, and at least we're headed in the right direction.
Now, I know Springfield sees about 3 million visitors a year, and on average, visitors spend about $650 here. Recently, many big events have been canceled or postponed, including Mid-America Street Rod Nationals and Wingding 42, the annual motorcycle rally that was supposed to be back in Springfield in late June. After more than 20 years, those plans have changed. How does that impact Springfield and the local economy?
Not good. As a matter of fact, since this began, we have had a total of, 51 groups that we have worked with at the Convention and Visitors Bureaus. This does not count the groups that go directly to the hotels, and there are many, many more of those. But 51 groups have canceled since this started. That's almost 50,000 room nights. And about $27 million in actual lost revenue. And that's just the groups. That doesn't count the individual travel or the leisure travel, and obviously everything was shut down there for a while when the stay-at-home orders were in place. It's kind of difficult to travel.
So Tracy, how do you deal with that? How do you bounce back from it? You were in the business of inviting people to come to Springfield, to get those big groups coming to Springfield, and now you can't really do that. When do you think you'll be able to invite people to come to Springfield? How do you then balance, and how do you bounce back?
Well, first off, with the groups, we were successful in rebooking most of the groups that we dealt with. So they have either rebooked later this fiscal year. The Street Rods, as an example, their event will occur in October. The Gold Wing Road Riders moved their event back a year. We will get them back here in 2021. And there are many other groups that have also rescheduled their events. So fortunately, even though we're not going to get that business this year, we will be getting it in future years. The travel industry is going to come back in stages. And the first thing that's going to come back is visiting family and friends. We've been sheltering in place for a long time and have not been able to see friends and relatives. And that's going to be the first thing that people feel comfortable traveling to do. We hope that Springfield residents will invite their family and friends to come to Springfield, as opposed to us going to visit them in another city. So that will be the first thing that will come back. Business travel will come back slowly. Other leisure travel will start to come back, and there will be a propensity to travel to drive destinations relatively close by, and that bodes well for both Springfield and Branson in the long run. So we don't think it's going to be back to what we would consider normal until probably next summer. And it will come back in stages. Unfortunately, it won't come back as quickly as it went away.
A couple of weeks ago, it was National Travel and Tourism Week, was May 3rd through the 9th. Obviously, that looked a little different. And I also saw the CVB was encouraging people to be a tourist in their own town and start with family and friends, as you mentioned. And this is something we can do all the time, not just during that week. What are some ideas you have for residents instead of traveling that they can do right here in Springfield that is allowed right now, that is open right now, that we can do while social distancing as well?
Well, many of the attractions are slowly starting to open up. The History Museum, for example, will be opening very soon. The zoo is open and so forth. So there are things that people can get out and do right now. A lot of the outdoor activities, golf is, you can still go play golf. And some of the businesses now are starting to reopen. Some of the restaurants who have really been clobbered by this as well. So I would just encourage people to very safely get out and about in their own local community when they feel comfortable doing so, and try to help the people here that have been hurt financially by this pandemic.
Tracy Kimberlin, the CEO and president of the Springfield's Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more right here on Ozarks Fox.